What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Strictly Casual for another movie review. Today we're talking about Marvel's Agent Cody Banks 3 Return to... Wrong movie. I'm so sorry. We're actually talking about the other spy movie that released this weekend. Marvel reintroduced themselves onto the silver screen with the release of Black Widow.
We're going to be breaking down the story, characters, kind of our Marvel ranking, as well as go over the post-credit scene. So without further ado, Vincent, you can start us off. What did you think of the story?
First off, very excited to go back to the theater to see a Marvel movie. It's been 2 years since the last theater Marvel movie, okay? I will say, I thought the first third of the movie wasn't what I wanted, but it totally picked up by the end, and I was like all in. I think the first third took itself way too seriously, and I wasn't completely bought in until we started getting Red Guardian out of prison. I was like, once that scene happened, I was like, all right, let's go. It's kind of funny now. We have these relationships that I care about now. Let's go. The action gets good. I think everything about the movie gets better at that point in time. But it was a slow start for me, to be honest.
Regarding the Red Room and just all the basic themes of the movie, I think the overall theme didn't really grab me. I'll be honest. I thought it was interesting enough to keep me interested, but it didn't really I didn't really care, nor did it really give me any reason to care about all these random Black widows. Yeah, these other widows. Just because there's no they just feel like they didn't fit to me. There are a few moments in the latter half of the movie that it makes it seem like some of these people have known each other for a really long time. In the end of the movie, there's that scene where one of the widows grabs Taskmaster's hand, and I'm like, are they friends or something? We don't know her. You're spending so much time on this shot that I just feel doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's really nitpicky. In terms of overall pacing, I thought it was fine. It was a slow start for me as well. The really long credit sequence kind of threw me off in the beginning.
Beginning credits?
The beginning credits, because Marvel doesn't really do beginning credits. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. It was weird. It was out of pocket.
And I actually thought it was interesting. I was like, all right, fair enough. And but it also kind of felt like they were fast tracking the development of these kids in their childhood, and they just skipped to their adults. And they referenced their youth so much that I feel like we should have seen a little more, just to give us a little more connection to their childhoods, a little more gravitas, if you will. I enjoyed it once again with Vince when they broke the Red Guardian out of prison. David Arbor was great, super funny. I love when the movie stopped taking itself so seriously.
I think objectively, I'd say, plot-wise, as an action movie goes, and as this movie, I'd say it was a little better than all right, but I'd say it was cool thinking of it objectively as a movie like that. But for me as a Marvel fan, thinking of it subjectively as a Black Widow film, I felt satisfied to see her on the big screen by herself to get her solo film. But I think I agreed with some people on social media when they said I wanted more. And I think it's kind of sad that Scarlett Johansson is saying that this is her last, leave on a high note, because I do want more. I think her story, man, there could have been a whole trilogy with her story. And I think the themes were surprising. I didn't think that we would get themes of, human trafficking and kind of parental abuse and other stuff. And I was like, oh, I didn't think that would happen. And it was a good surprise.
It's good. I totally agree. I think as the movie was wrapping up, I was like, you know what? I don't think there's another Black Widow story that I would have rather been told. I think this actually makes her death feel like she completed what in her own personal life, what she needed to do. And then so watching Endgame again, you I'm a little more at peace with okay, I don't know how to say this correctly. I don't know how to say this right, but
well, did you feel like there was something missing when she did die in Endgame? Did you feel like it wasn't?
I honestly didn't, but she mentions these events in her life that she had a terrible childhood, and she had these things all the way back in Iron Man 2 or whatever when she first arrived, and so it felt cool to see okay, so this is kind of what happened, and whoa, here we go. It doesn't matter how big the stakes were to us, what I mean, whether or not the widows were gonna take over with this bad guy, but in her world, this is the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
And they sold that to me, that this is the biggest thing in her life, whether or not it was the biggest thing in the world.
True. I love that. We got answers, and it adds gravity now to other movies based on little comments or scenes that she has, and that's what I really liked. I was like, wow, now those movies, The Vest and when she talks about Budapest
Oh,
with
yeah, yeah.
Hawkeye and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Dreykov's daughter with Loki. It adds more. It adds more.
Oh my
you know?
God, that's so funny. I never even thought about that. Hawkeye and her always talking about Budapest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Huh.
so now let's get into more specific characters, really. Kind of who stood out, who kind of lacked, and who we enjoyed the most. So
I'll tell you right now that David Harbour and our good friend Florence Pugh or Pugh or however you say it. I don't know. They stole the show all the time.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
single
they
scene
did.
they were in. I
Yeah,
mean,
they did.
and I knew it was gonna happen right when Black Widow and Florence had that fight in the apartment. I was like, "Yep, this slaps.
Yep.
She's awesome.
It was
Let's
so
go." The best fight in the movie.
Yeah.
I love how Florence Pugh just constantly like takes jabs at Black Widow the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
so good because like Black Widow got all the fame because she was an Avenger.
Yeah.
You know, and Florence Pugh and Yelena just went off and continued doing the, you know, the Widow thing. For
Same
her,
skill set,
however-
basically.
Yeah, basically.
I think she did a great job at like the sister dynamic. You know, it's not often that you see actors and you're like, I get it, you're acting like your siblings, but this was like, wow, you're really acting like
It was
a little
believable.
sister. Yeah, it was believable, and she was definitely a standout because I loved her accent, I love her jokes, and I love how. And I saw this too. That death is such a thing in the back of your mind. And like, she's like, well, this is a cool way to die. Like, it's like nothing to them, and that's what was so cool. Is like,
Right.
wow, like she really just like is fearless in a sense. And I thought that was just so cool about her. You know, how she made fun of Black Widow
Totally.
and little comments, you know, poking jabs at her. It's a perfect sister dynamic. It's great. You know what I mean? The posing is hilarious.
The pose. It's,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Her and Red Guardian. I was surprised at how funny David Harbour was with his accent. You know,
Dude.
like I was like, this guy's great.
Surprisingly good Russian accents in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And also,
Especially from a British person and an American, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
yeah. And I think another good thing about now it adds to a movie watching the Disney Plus shows is about the super soldier, because the fact that Red Guardian was a super soldier could be like shock. Like I thought Cap was the only one, but now that we know about Isaiah Bradley, it's like, oh, there's all kinds of hidden, you know, lore here with the Hydra and the Winter Soldier and stuff like that. We have Melina, which was the mom. You know, I think she was
good.
She was surprising for me because I thought that, you know, I didn't know who was Taskmaster, right? And Taskmaster could have been people were saying Melina the mom, or people were also saying the friend Mason, which we got a poster from, which was the arms dealer that helped out Black Widow.
Yeah.
So it was like these characters are really sub. We don't really know why they got posters, but I think Melina was strong because she was a mom. She did what she could, and she's just an agent. You know what I mean? She's just a Russian agent.
liked the kind of twist that the Taskmaster was the guy's daughter. I kind
Okay,
of saw
yeah.
that and I was like, you know what? That works for me. I don't know who else it
Okay.
could be. I would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
probably groaned
Yeah.
groaned with anybody else. I was like, this is fine. There's like, even though I thought the bad guy, like Marvel kind of fell in its trap with, I want to know why the bad guy was doing what he was doing. Not, of course, take over the world. I get it. Every bad guy wants to take over the world. But like, why does he want to do that? Is the disconnect that I didn't get.
True, yeah.
But from his family dynamic standpoint, totally made sense that Taskmaster was his daughter. Like, okay, this is the way she's gonna survive, and okay, she's like my henchman now, basically. She's gonna do my dirty work, and has my technology and that kind of stuff. That was fine. That was
So
cool.
I thought the why in terms of like Dracov's motivations was that like for making these widows is that like he was like I think it was a little bit of like a Russian like communist thing to,
Yeah.
like, you know, that sort of thing, but more in terms of like justifying human trafficking. I think that was more compelling for me because he was like his thinking was like, oh, like I'm actually like taking care of like
Helping.
True,
these
yeah,
girls
yeah.
because these literally were thrown out on the street and I'm like giving them like
Purpose.
a future and like purpose and,
Recycled. That's what
Yeah,
he called it.
yeah.
yes, recycling them.
Mhm.
So I just think that's interesting. I think a few of the like going off of that, I think some of the narrative themes that fell a little flat for me in relation to that were like who Natasha's real parents were, because it gets
yeah.
a little bit of like a sidelight because she mentions it to Drakov and she really wants to know, but it's not consistent enough throughout the whole movie
True.
for me to like really feel like it was a big point of inner conflict for Natasha. I don't know how you guys felt about it. Let me know what you think.
No, yeah, for sure. I think it was hard trying to balance everything because you're also trying to make this a send off, but you want to include all of her story. But I agree. I think there's a lot of things hidden, even more deeper rooted in who Natasha is as a person, about her family and her life that we can get into. But that feels like another type of movie thing to uncover that past.
Right.
I feel like she developed talking about family. It was all about family for her. Kind of like Vin Diesel, but no, but
Exactly. This is Fast and Furious 10, actually.
she was finding her purpose. I think her purpose was reignited with the Red Room, because she was on the run. She was like, well, the Avengers are done, and I have my other family now. I have to do this. I have to accomplish the Red Room because I thought it was done with. And then she's like, I know what my family is. I want to fix this and become a hero that I knew I can, and fix that what she felt so bad. She thought that she killed Dracov's daughter. She's still trying to what's that, kind of get retribution for herself,
Except
she's trying to
atone.
the whole movie is that she's trying to do what's right, and I think that's great. Mixed with the lines and the dialogue, it adds to Infinity War and Endgame when she's saying this is my family, and that death adds more now because of what she did in this movie.
I'll just mention real quick, I had no idea that this movie took place after Civil War. I literally had no idea. For some reason I thought this movie was going to be like before we met in Iron Man 2, or something like that, or something on that end. So I was really happily surprised. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, okay, the Avengers are broken up. She's like, already she doesn't feel like she has a purpose within. She's like a killing machine. She's a spy. And so like now she has the Avengers torn apart too. It's like she's literally on her own, and that helps the motivation. It helps her to find her motivation, which is right. Cool. I thought that worked great.
I was gonna go a little bit off of that, even Vin, and say like the Avengers for her were her real, quote unquote, real family. Because if we go back to like the dinner table scene, like the whole thing, she's kind of apathetic because she's like, yeah, none of this, like you guys aren't my real parents.
Which is the best scene in the entire movie. That is the best scene.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's rekindling the sense of family within like these people. And I think Florence Pugh is so pivotal and instrumental in doing so, because she was like, it was real to me. Like, you are my sister, even if we aren't like biological. And like it hit me. It really did. Like it hit me hard. It was like, and I was almost wanting Natasha to be like, come on, see.
Say something.
Say something. Be nice.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, like it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh. And then I think it like matters, or I think that's a good reintroduction to like Infinity War and Endgame, when she dies literally for her like family that also is not hers, with and that being the Avengers.
Wow, that's good. It's a good point.
So now we can get into kind of like, in comparison wise, maybe like whole Marvel universe. It seems like we're getting into timeline wise, and then kind of post credits, talking about where this fits, where we rank it as a Marvel film overall, and where it connects to the whole story.
I don't know exactly how I'd rank it with all the other ones. I think this is a good movie. Like I had a great time watching it. You learn more about the character. I thought the plot was fine. It was good, and it made Black Widow a more interesting character to me, I guess. I think she was already interesting, so this was great. But I don't. It's not high. It's not A or S tier for me. Definitely.
I say B tier.
Probably fine. B tier. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not a low end movie.
I think it's B tier. I think it's better than something like Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
It has some. Here's what I think its biggest fault is. I think it tries to do a little too much. Like, I think it's good at sticking to what it wants to do, but I think some points are just a little overextended to the point where, like, I wish I cared about these certain things, talked about a little more. So I wish maybe we got, like, one that was a little more focused on her, like, that is pre-Iron Man 2, focused on a little more childhood, and then gotten, like, one whole movie devoted to Civil War, but I'm worried that might, like, spread it a little too thin.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sure Disney was in a similar place planning these two movies.
I mean, we'll get into the post-credit later, but I think Yelena, that's her name, right? Florence character. I think she'll be able, like, she's for sure going to be in movies in the future. She will sure be a character in the future. I think some of those questions you may have now might be answered through her findings later on. And so, like, there might be a couple threads that are open. Not to say that that's like a good thing to rely on, but
and that's what's exciting about the future of the MCU, because when you think on new Avengers and replacements, now that you've seen character like Yelena, I think everyone can agree she was a great character and we all
She was
love
awesome.
her, right?
Yeah.
And now that she is now Black Widow role, it's not a replacement for Natasha because of the relationship that we saw. We could see, oh, she's doing this because of Natasha, and there was now gravity there. So I can, if they continue to do this with replacement types, based on the past history of the impact of these Avengers, the core 6, the future team will still be as impactful, but in a different way, which I'm like, oh, I have a new light now after seeing Yelena.
If anything, this movie gives Yelena an amazing starting place in the MCU where I already kind of care about her. So it's not like she could be thrown into any situation and I'm already kind of on her side, like whatever it is. And I think that this movie totally is successful in that.
Yeah.
We want to talk a little bit about that post-credit scene at the end of Avengers at the end of Black Widow. Yeah, we're not watching Avengers. James, start us off. You go for it.
All right. Well, I'm really a bad person to start off with because I didn't watch Falcon Winter Soldier.
I never
like,
played.
What the fuck is this?
Okay.
In terms of like, I'm really interested in the type of character that Yelena is going to be. I like my friends when I went and saw the movie, they gave me like a little bit of context of who Valentina is, just a rough overview. And I think it would be really interesting if Yelena goes into more of an anti-hero sort of role. Am I like wrong in thinking that she would go that direction?
I think
because her whole life is anti-hero right now.
Right.
And because of Valentina. Valentina's stirring her stream.
So I think that would be a really cool thing for the MCU to do because they don't really have any, I mean, besides someone like Deadpool, I guess, they don't really have an anti-hero to like root for whose motivations like has potential to be like mixed, and there's a little more ambiguity in terms of like character morality.
In Falcon and Winter Soldier, I feel like her character's pretty wasted. Her character's just there to set up something else that's going to happen in the future in Falcon and Winter Soldier. She's in like maybe a couple episodes, 10 minutes of screen time tops in the whole show. She has John, what's his name?
John Walker, US
John
agent.
Walker at the end. Yeah, they're working together. He has this like black suit kind of dealio. James, you got to watch the show. I don't want to spoil it for you, but like
it could be, but see that could be set up for like Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers or something, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole team up.
I see this in a way that Valentino is going to steer Yelena into this revenge path for Hawkeye, right? Which is fascinating for the Hawkeye
that is
show.
What they were trying to do.
Yep.
Fascinating. That makes me excited for the Hawkeye show because I don't even know what the show's about. You know what I mean? That's fine.
Haley Steinfeld.
She's gonna be
Hawkeye's
Kate
daughter.
Bishop.
No, she's not gonna be Kate Bishop. Yeah.
So I don't know the connection there, but Kate Bishop we know is in Hawkeye. So imagine we have Haley Steinfeld and Florence Pugh, a seller for Hawkeye.
That'd be good.
Dude, if they're fighting, I am all in. It would be so sick.
That would be like a little like harem-y. Like they're both fighting over Hawkeye.
They're not fighting over him.
To take him out.
I know, but like,
wait, is Kate Bishop against Hawkeye?
No, I don't think she is.
She's
she
with
supports Hawkeye.
Yeah. Okay, lastly, I say we talk the Black Widow grave moment as well as the send-off for Natasha with the ending of the film and the Yelena talking in the grave. How do we feel about the goodbye, the finale?
Felt good overall. To be honest, there's the shot where the shield trucks are coming in and she's got the sun behind her and she kind of looks out and you're like, damn, that's it. That's a wrap, dude. Oh, the whistle was bad. I was like, oh man, the whistle.
They didn't like the whistle that like one other time in the movie. I was like, this isn't a consistent, like, it's just another one of those things that isn't like I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to do like a Hunger Games, like that same sort of like iconic.
Siblings could have it. That's what I was thinking. Like siblings
they
have
didn't even
things.
include it in the pre-story when they were kids.
Yeah, true.
I said they missed the opportunity. If they included it when they were playing together, like in the woods or on the park or whatever, then I would have been a little more like, oh, okay. But I'm like, they literally did this one other time when they're full-grown adults.
It's weird just to like throw it in there. Like, I think it was. I want more. You know, I feel like it was. I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't have done her, you know, say her goodbye, showing her grave in a post-credit scene. That feels like that needs to be in the movie because I feel like post-credit scenes even now aren't a part of the package. That's just something for extra fans. But I feel like
really,
part of the film
it is a part of the package.
Really? Oh, I mean, I don't know. It depends because like I still feel like that's a diehard Marvel thing. Like you don't see a normal moviegoer like waiting. I feel like a lot of people
but that's the
leave.
Thing.
You know,
every single person at my theater did not leave, and that's how I knew. I looked around, and also it's first weekend, so you know it probably is the bigger fans trying to watch it. But I look around, not a single person moved. I was like, these people are in it.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that it was beautiful to see her hair, her vest. You know, she honored just more impact for Infinity War, honoring her sister. You see the ship where she continues on in the movie, saving the team, and it's kind of like a goodbye. And then they show like the fireflies. I don't know, it was beautiful. It was really nice. You know, you get a tear out of me because I'm very emotional with Marvel, but I feel like I want a little more to kind of honor her and say, hey, goodbye. Kind of like how they did with Tony Stark. They had a whole thing of it. They had a whole scene and the arc react. I don't know, just maybe even seeing the Avengers. I know that'd be crazy. Honoring her because she's a part of the team. Like, where's the team paying respects?
That's fair. I could kind of get that, but at the same time, you're right. I thought it was good though, because this is more personal story anyways. I'm glad they didn't throw an Avenger in there, because I feel like if they did throw an Avenger in there, I'd be like, well, where's the rest of them? Why does this person care more than the other one?
Very much like with Tony Stark, it was like every Avengers movie was a Tony Stark and Cap movie.
Yeah,
like they are the two central players of this movie, with like everyone else kind of around them supporting them, I felt like.
Lastly, I'm glad we finally got a Black Widow movie. Long overdue, but I think the character development of Natasha was immense, and I think I am eternally grateful that we got this for her. And it was a great send-off. Overall, I'd say I'm satisfied, but even though I want more, I'm glad that we got this. And I'm looking forward to Yelena's future now, because I'm all in for her character.
I want to see that, and I'm excited to see we ever get two super soldiers maybe to meet up and kind of like see each other. Maybe we get some more David. I mean, David Harbour's character.
David Harbour, Captain America.
Captain America 4. Maybe.
I want the reunion where Steve goes, "Who the hell are you?"
And then David Harbour goes, boom, Karl Marx, because he has that tattooed on all of his fingers.
Epic. I noticed that at the arm wrestling. I was like, that's sick.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out and watching this review with us. We hope you liked Black Widow. Also, there's a lot of stuff that happened in this movie, so if you saw something you liked or didn't like that we didn't mention, please let us know in the comments. We'll totally be responding. We love this conversation. If you're not already following us on TikTok or subscribe to YouTube or checking out all of our Loki reactions and that kind of stuff, please do so. We love talking Marvel with you guys, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye, guys.
Peace out.